In 2001, national-level NASCAR racing returned to Nashville when the 1 1/3 mile Nashville Superspeedway opened and played host to the Xfinity and Craftsman Truck Series for the first time. Over its first decade, the track became a staple of the schedule for both series, expanding each to 2 events, while also adding IndyCar racing for the first 8 years of its existence. However, without a NASCAR Cup Series date on its calendar, 2011 proved to be the track's final season, and it would shut down after choosing not to seek NASCAR sanction for 2012. My, how times have changed. In June of 2020, NASCAR awarded Nashville Superspeedway a Cup Series date, effectively bringing the track back to life. For the first time, it hosted all 3 national NASCAR series in June of 21. And tonight, it's race number 4 of the IROC Challenge Series, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Lebanon, Tennessee, the Nashville Superspeedway Race 4 of the IROC Challenge Series. Practice qualifying in the books, warm-up session just about to be the same. Let's take a look at our race details this evening. 113 laps the race distance, 78-degree ambient temperature, 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, barely any breeze at 2 miles per hour, and 78-degree ambient temperature. Drivers tonight working with double check it, 100% fuel load on board tonight and 4 sets of tires over the wall. Certainly plenty to work with this evening. Again, a concrete racing surface, a little more abrasive. We'll see how those tires hold out, but 4 sets I'm thinking will be plenty for tonight's event. 1 fast repair actually set up for this evening. I don't know if that was planned or not. Typically the series does not run with any. And 3 green-white checkered finishes if it comes down to needing them. Hopefully not, probably not. These guys tend to run pretty clean and green most of the time. With that said, though, again, the warm-up just about complete. Let's look at some of the times we're seeing here at the Speedway. Right now, the top on the board is the 83 of Brandon Mefford. Second quick, the 15, Garrett Johnston. Then Josh Mears jumps in here. He's a newcomer, I believe. We'll double check on that. Chris Wally actually jumps up into that 3rd spot. Less than a minute remain in the warm-up session before we see the black and red flag on the session. We'll jump right into our starting grid immediately following. Got Tom Janikowski in the HBR TV chat already. What's going on, Tom? We do have both platforms, IROC TV and HBR TV, multi-streaming here tonight. As always in the IROC Challenge Series, we've got both platforms up and running. We do have both stream chats available, at least to my eyes, so feel free to chime in on either one. I see them both. Session just about complete. Brian McCann in his familiar colors, but no decals on that truck this week. Not sure the reason behind that. We're going to try and reload trade and paints just to be certain. $19 truck field here tonight at Nashville Superspeedway as the clock gets to 0 and the session ends. With that, we wait for everyone to get set up here on the starting grid, so let's do it. Let's take a look at it ourselves. The starting grid for tonight, race number 4 from Nashville, on the pole position with a lap time of 29.834 seconds. It's the 83 Charity Motorsports driver. It's Brandon Mefford. Outside front row, Brian McCann missed it by 5/1000ths of a second. Tough one to swallow, but I guess a front row starting spot not too shabby. Row number 2, it's the 15 of Garrett Johnston, flanked by the 88 of Jason Nilges. Row 3, it's Joshua Mears in the number 36 with Neil Quick to his outside. Row 4, the 34, another Charity Motorsports entry, it's Doug Wysocki. To his right elbow, it's the 9 of Adam Benefield. Starting 9th, Timmy Schofield. 10th goes to the 75 of Chris Wally. 11th place starter, the number 21 of Brandon Leclerc. 12th starter, Lance Riggins in the 10. 13th goes to Larry Bruner. Newt Quick in the 4 starts 14th. Todd Kleek will roll off from the 15th position. Zachary Kleek 16th. 17th place starter, it's Mike Cook. Matt Kopp will start 18th. And Dan Pinkston credited with 19th starting position. No time taken by the 22. Your starting grid here from Nashville Superspeedway. Field beginning to roll out of pit lane, out of turn number 2. We get set up to go green here very soon. Again, race details tonight, 113 laps the race distance, 78 degrees, 45% humidity, partly cloudy, limited breeze at 2 miles per hour, 78-degree track temperature. Full fuel tanks tonight and 4 sets of tires available over the wall. Dan Pinkston is not on the grid here. I think he may be here as an admin tonight. Usually they join as a watcher. Maybe Dan took some laps tonight, but nevertheless, he'll get categorized as 19th. Either way, pace car is in. We wait for the green flag. Befford leans him down. Green flag is in the air. Mefford and McCann through turns 1 and 2, side by side. Mefford with the early lead, and we got a spinner off 2. The number 44, Larry Bruner, goes around, dirt tracking it through the grass, saves the truck. We keep it under green. He's going to lose a ton of track position. Back out front, though, out of turn 4. McCann has gone around. Mefford takes the top spot. Back to start finish. He'll lead lap number 1. McCann battling back, holding out in front of Mefford. Mefford took a look to the inside. McCann slammed the door. Just about everybody getting singled out one by one, all the way back to the 19th to scratch that 18th position. Just want to keep everybody updated. If you're scratching your head looking at these paint schemes, we took a look at things earlier in practice. Everybody seemed to have the right scheme, but for whatever reason, things don't seem to be wanting to load in properly. We'll try to address that at our first opportunity to do so, but we're just going to cover the action for the time being. We'll get that corrected here sooner than later, hopefully. McCann just ran his best lap at 30.09. Back to start finish. We'll take a look at it. McCann ran it again, 30.09, his fastest lap of the day. He just matched it 2 laps in a row. Maintains a 3/10 advantage over Brandon Mefford. Garrett Johnston 3rd, Nilges 4th. Those two right where they started. Wysocki runs 5th, up a couple of spots. Neil Quick on the move, looking for a position, was to the inside, goes back to the inside on Doug Wysocki. This for the 5th position. Quick takes it to the bottom of the racetrack, clears the 34. Not much of a contest there. Doug knows it's early, not going to push the issue. We'll ride in behind Neil Quick, see if he can pick up a few things. I'm not talking about groceries. Battle for position here further back in the pack. This for 14th between Zachary Kleek and Lance Riggins. Riggins on the bottom in the number 10 machine. Kleek in that, well, kind of reminds me of the Silver Arrows, the number 77. Looks almost like a Mercedes Chevrolet out there. That's a little interesting, but either way, a good-looking paint scheme. Very reflective here under the lights at Nashville. New Quick takes a look to the inside. Back out front, McCann still running some pretty fast laps. Picks up a faster lap yet again, a 30.07, a couple of hundredths quicker than previous. Seven laps in, tire temperatures, tire pressures, all up to operating temp at this point. McCann's got his hands full. Mefford takes a peek to the inside on the exit of the trioval here, down into turn one. They're side by side. The 83 gets to the bottom and almost clear, but not quite. McCann battling back on the offside of turn number two. Still side by side. They drag race down into three. Mefford with the side draft on corner entry. Not much of an advantage there, but it did slow the momentum of the three just enough. Keeps Mefford to the inside. They work off of four. Little wiggle out of both drivers out of the corner. McCann might have scraped the wall just ever so slightly. Reactive slip by Mefford on the bottom, but they both continue to work side by side out of turn number four. Johnston gets a piece of the wall off turn four as well. He's going to lose a little bit of ground. Had an opportunity to close the gap, but these two even side by side are turning some quick laps. Mefford edges out in front by about half a truck length, but McCann still to the right side door of the 83. Mefford can't get clear. Top side seemingly the advantage point right now for Brian McCann as he continues to try and fend off the 83 of Mefford. Off of four, close quarters yet again. Brandon not giving an inch. 12 laps complete here for Nashville Superspeedway. Back to the bottom again, and they almost touch. Great battle here at the front of the field for the top spot at Nashville. Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford still side by side. Oh, almost contact. I don't know if McCann was trying to brush him off or turning down. Either way, they almost made contact, maybe a little bit of net code. Either way, Mefford gets the top spot. He gets clear, but crossover from McCann. Off turn number four, taking a look. Turn two, that is. McCann back to the bottom. He'll easily retake the top spot, but now Mefford on the top side. Will he have the momentum to get back alongside? No, he doesn't, but a big-time crossover. Mefford goes way down to the apron of the racetrack at start-finish. This is unbelievable. This is like last 10 lap stuff, not the first 14. These guys know they got a bunch of tires over the wall. They can afford to do this at this stage of the race. As long as they don't wreck each other, I think they'll be okay. Even with that, though, they got a faster pair to play with. Top three, single file now. 15 laps complete. Talked to Chris Wally pre-race here tonight. Chris, of course, the primary admin of the series, kind of gets things handled. But he is also a competitor out here. Had a rough week last week, or at least 2 weeks ago. So we were off last week. But we spoke to him, and his strategy tonight certainly much different than these top two drivers. He was just going to bide his time, stay out of the wreck, take care of the truck, be there at the finish. That was the way he was going to approach this event here this evening. These guys out front, man, they've been fighting hard. Mefford put the truck on the pole position. McCann quickly took it away. Mefford now has retaken the top spot here as we're 16 laps complete. 19 goes up on the board. We're going to take a very short break, folks. We're going to run an ad real fast here and hopefully get the paints fixed, but we'll be back right after this. Stay with us. Back at Nashville Superspeedway, 19 laps in the books, and just like that, we have repainted every truck in the field in just one simple commercial. How about that, folks? Either way, we got it squared away. Mefford out in front still. McCann runs second. Johnston, Garrett that is, back in the third spot still where he started. Neil Quick, though, quietly working his way back towards the front in that familiar number 2 R&R racewear machine. Quick started in P6. Big movers through the field right now. It's Mike Cook and Matt Kopp, both drivers up 5 positions on the day. Mike in the number 85 and Kopp in the 50. Ironically, they're both together. Kopp trying to find a way around the 85 to try and pick up some spots. This effectively the battle for the 12th position. Mike Cook has it. Out of turn 2. Now looks like Kopp's going to get alongside. And Kopp gets clear, barely, but he gets clear. Now Mike Cook's got his hands full with the 4 of Newt Quick. Newt gets clear of the 85 now. We talked about how Mike Cook was up 5 spots. Well, now it's up 3. He's slipped a couple since we mentioned that. Matt Kopp, however, make his advancement to 6 positions. He's looking for more. Getting a real close look at the tailgate of the 36 of Joshua Mears. On board with the 36, Kopp looks to the inside. Mears might lose 2 here as Quick looking to the inside now in the 4, trying to follow Kopp through. Mears battles back on the outside though, has to lift, loses the nose just a bit. Truck getting a little tight on exit. Battle up front remains the same. Mefford still with the lead. McCann back in second, about a half a full second in the rear view. And the caution is out.
Did you hear any static? Like somebody was keying up on your radio just a few minutes ago?
This may be a competition caution. This may be related to Larry Bruner. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see if we can get a better look at this. Bruner having an issue out on the track. Loses it. Very similar to what we saw in the opening lap. In fact, that is the opening lap. Just making sure y'all are paying attention. This time, no, I think, no issue with Bruner. Now, Bruner's in the 25, but in the timing and scoring, he's the 44, so just keep that in mind. Got a different paint scheme on that truck tonight. But with all that said, first caution, competition caution, pit stops about to commence as Mefford and McCann lead the field down. Mefford cleaned into his pit stall. McCann has to pull it forward just a hair. He's going to lose a little bit of time doing so. 4 tires and fuel likely to be the call for everybody up and down pit lane here, again with 4 sets available over the wall. They can pretty much take them every opportunity they get. Interestingly enough, 2 drivers stay on the racetrack. It's Chris Wally and Nuke Quick. Wally going to try and pick up a lap lead here. See if he opts to come down after the fact and just take the penalty. And there it is. Wally does pull off the track after getting that lap lead. He'll come to pit lane. Nuke Quick, though, does stay out on the racetrack. We are on the 1 to go, so we'll be green the next time. Nuke Quick's going to be on old tires. Watch out for the wheel spin here. We'll see what happens. Pace car is in. They approach the Geico restart zone.
Green flag.
And they fire. Looks like a clean start for Nuke Quick, even with the old tires. Down into 1, Mefford to the outside. McCann, who was way up top of the racetrack. I think that was more avoidance than anything. Didn't expect the 4 to be off pace as much as he was. Again, Quick did not take tires, so that's the major reason you're seeing him drop back the way that he is. Caught McCann off guard, almost made contact, but maintains the 2nd spot. Meanwhile, battle for the 2nd spot. Garrett Johnston, Jason Nile just side by side. Top 5, 6, 7, 8 cars all single file to this point. Tim Schofield rounding out the back of that pack, but the caution comes out. We've got trouble. One truck up in the fence. Looks like it might be Nuke Quick. That's the struggle here when you're the only truck out there on old tires, is the differential in pace, the delta between yourself and those guys on fresh rubber. It's pretty significant. We'll see what happened here. Looks like Mike Cook may have been involved in this as well. Truck pretty tore up here. Let's get a look. Now, wasn't really a pace thing. Quick was still to the outside. See if we can get a better angle on it. All right, so you see the white and black number 4 to the outside. Here, this will show it. So Quick's there. He's got about 2-3 feet maybe he can work with. Gets a little push over. Now he's got less space. I don't know. I think he's giving him all the room he really needs to give him, but the 85 just comes up there. Contact is made, and the rest is history. There you have it. Chris Wally, though, does take an opportunity to come back to pit lane. Not sure the reasons behind that. Maybe just topping off for fuel to get a slightly off sequence with the rest of the field. Checking up on these other drivers, it looks like Adam Benefield got a piece of it as well. Adam with a fresh paint scheme last week. This is actually a paint scheme that was put together by that S4 guy, Zach Millett. Not a competitor in this series, but a familiar name for sure. A sponsored driver by HBR TV. Certainly loved the scheme, though. Back out front should get the 1 to go as they cross the line here. And they do. Lights go out on the iRacing pace car. Mefford's going to take the top line for the restart. Pace car is in. Wait till we get to the restart line here, see when Mefford fires.
Green flag.
Mefford waits a little bit in the zone, doesn't fire off right away, but still the 3 of McCann has to wait for the 83 to get going. He does so. Mefford into 1 and 2. McCann running second, a good run, closes the gap just a bit through there in the middle of the corner. On exit, McCann closes up. Looks like a little loose exit for the 83. McCann right there switches lanes, goes topside. He'll drive it in deep into turn 3. Side by side off turn number 4 for the race lead. McCann quick on fresh tires. It's kind of how we saw it play out in the first initial laps here tonight. McCann quickly got around Brandon Mefford. It wasn't until the tires began to wear that Brandon was able to take that lead back. It's interesting, and it's all about driving style. This series does not run open setups, so they're all forced to use the same general setup. You can't play with it. You can't make adjustments. There's a couple of creature comforts that you can play with, like steering angle and things like that, but that's really about it. No tire pressure adjustments, no wedge, no nothing. So McCann holding on to that top spot by a couple of tenths over Brandon Mefford still yet again. McCann runs his fastest lap of the day yet again here at 30.07. Slightly faster than his previous fast lap at 30.07. We're talking thousandths. Battle for position here a little bit deeper in the field. Brandon Leclerc to the inside of Doug Wysocki. This will be for the 7th position if he can get clear, but Wysocki out of turn 4, gets clear himself, maintains the position. Wysocki had a very strong and consistent day. Started in the 7th spot, runs in the 7th spot. Then back to the big movers on the night, Matt Kopp. Up 9 positions in that number 50 Cherry Motorsports machine. He started 18th, so continues to knock off positions, work his way towards the front of this field. Meanwhile, back out front, McCann still has it. Lap truck up topside. That's the number 10 of Lance Riggins. Forces the leaders to take a little shallower exit out of turn 2, but just across the nose there, Mefford gets back in behind McCann. They're in 3 and 4. Johnston closes the gap yet again, so the top 3 all separated by less than half a second. Johnston has lost a little bit of ground on the top 2 as they've singled out. As soon as I say that, though, Mefford takes a peek to the inside out of turn 2. Doesn't do anything with it. Sticks behind about a truck length off the rear tailgate of the 3. Meanwhile, Neil Quick still up in the 4th position. He's picked off a couple since this one got underway, but rides comfortably ahead of the 88 of Jason Nilges. Schofield in the number 12, running in the 6th position. 3 spots of forward progress thus far, having a solid run. Truck looks clean on all 4 corners. Battle further back in the pack here. This is about 15th. Newt Quick, remember he's involved in that incident. Looks like he got repairs made. I don't know if he burned a fast repair or fixed it the old-fashioned way. He did spend about 58 seconds in his pit box. That would not indicate a fast repair. With that said, the truck does look pretty good. Just ahead of these guys, Adam Benefield in the 9, working on the back bumper of Mike Cook. This for the 13th position. Adam is all over the 85. Back to the bottom of the racetrack. Still has to tuck back in line. Mike able to put some distance between himself and Benefield so far. Now, Newt Quick starting to close the gap back to the 9. We'll see if Adam can hold off to 4 to this point. Newt gets alongside here at start-finish. Not quite enough momentum to do the crossover and slide up, the slide job per se. Still side by side down the backstretch. They'll race down into turn number 3. Cook's going to have to find a different plan here. Trying to complete these passes on the bottom of the racetrack, you really have to plan in advance how you're going to get that done. Build some momentum out of turn number 2. Time that momentum so that you can dive it to the bottom of the racetrack and then slide up the racetrack to block the advance of the driver you're trying to pass. However, when you do it that way, it opens up the door for the leading driver to cross you back over, retake that position. Not saying it's impossible to get done. Back out front, McCann still with the race lead over Brandon Mefford. Top 3 drivers, McCann, Mefford, Johnston. One truck there, it's Lance Riggins, the 18th place truck. First truck 1 lap down. He's effectively 3 laps down, but he's still the first truck any laps down. We got a battle here as Mefford gets to the outside of McCann. We haven't seen this approach just yet. Really seems to be the way to make it pay off. We'll see if Mefford can get it done. As long as he can hang on the right side of the 3, this might be the way to do it. Top 2 still side by side. McCann now drives it back ahead just slightly off the bottom. Switching up the top spot here every 100 yards or so. Mefford now takes the top spot. He's ahead, but not by enough to clear the 3. McCann drops back down to the bottom of the racetrack. Nowhere else to go, so we might as well try the low side. Here we go again. More side-by-side action. It's just kind of how we expected it to go. We talked about this at the beginning of this run, at the last restart, how quickly McCann was able to clear Mefford and take the lead back. And here we are, handful of laps through this run as the tires start to heat up and wear, and Mefford back to the point, finally clear of Brian McCann, and Garrett Johnston has closed the gap. So the top 3 all within striking distance of each other here. Lap 53, now 54 goes up on the board. Mefford now with about a 3/10 advantage over Brian McCann. Garrett Johnston effectively half that distance off the back bumper of McCann. See if he's going to apply some pressure here to the 3. Maybe he'll take over that second spot. Brian drives it pretty deep into 3 and 4, though. Puts a couple of truck lengths on the 15. Back to start finish. Lap 56 will put us just about halfway here from Nashville Superspeedway. So that'll send us to an HBR TV side-by-side break. Stay with us, folks. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back in Nashville Superspeedway, Brandon Mefford continues to lead, a almost full second advantage now over Brian McCann. Last laps for Mefford, almost a full tenth faster than the trailing truck of Brian McCann. Again, this is kind of how we anticipated it was going to go based on that initial stage. I guess you could call it a stage. First 25 laps, that is. Mefford put the truck on pole position, but lost it within the first lap. Had to battle with Brian McCann for the first 25 to do anything about it. It was near the end of that run that Mefford was able to pass the 3 truck. Then the caution came out, but it was kind of deja vu here when we took the restart after that caution. McCann quickly got back out front, and then as the tires wore, got some temperature into them, Mefford was able to go around the 3 and retake that top spot. Now has a 1.1 second advantage over the 3. Lap 65 up on the board. Of course, more pit stops to come. Speaking of pit stop, Zachary Kleek heads down pit lane. Attention to his crew. Is this a planned stop? This very well could be. Right side tires going on. And green flag came out about lap 35. I would have thought they could go further on 100% fuel loads, but maybe not. A little bit of left front damage on the 77. Just a few laps to go. Let's see if we can get a look what happened here with the 77. There may have been a reason for this. It's in pit lane. Oh, he goes into the grass. Well, that's not the reason for the pit stop. That was the pit stop. Mefford's still out front. The interval between these two is somewhat stabilized, if not gotten a little closer. But man, Mefford really drives out of the corner well. It was almost a second on corner entry. Got within 9/10 in the middle of the corner, but coming out of it, it's 1.1. Here we go again. Yeah, that's the thing. Mefford really backing up his corner entry comparative to the 3 of McCann. Now, Brian running in the tire tracks of the 83. Brian's a great driver here. So is Brandon Mefford. These guys are very good at picking up on what's happening out in front of them. If they're not the fastest driver out there, they will learn what is happening. They're going to figure out where they're getting beat and why in most cases. McCann likely seeing that Mefford backing up his entry, allowing him to get back to the throttle a little bit sooner, carries a little more exit speed. See that in the intervals. It's 1.2, 1.25, 1.3. You'll see as they get into turn 1, typically it will come down. Of course, it's going to make me a liar this time. So Mefford with his biggest lead of the day here, just shy of a second and a half, 70 laps in. Adam Benefield going to hit pit lane. Remember, Adam pit during that last caution as he was involved in that last caution. Four tires and fuel for the 9. He's down and away. 14.4 seconds. A good stop. Duke Quick comes to pit lane as well. Here comes the 4, the F-150. Freaky fast machine. Very well could just be a matter of time before we see the leaders peel off. If I'm Brandon Mefford, I'm going to wait as long as I can. really may come down to when that last pit stop is. Does it happen under green? Does it happen under yellow? Does it happen very late in the run? Or late in the race, for that matter? If it's within the last 10 laps, Brandon Mefford's not going to be pleased with that. So he needs at least 10 or 15 laps to get those tires to wear a bit before he really comes to life. Neil Quick, meanwhile, up into the third spot. Highest he's been tonight. Garrett Johnson has taken his truck to pit lane, completes his stop. 14:77 the time. 4 tires in Sunoco Racing fuel for Johnston. He's back out in the mix. This would set him up for one more stop if we stay green. Granted, caution, I think everybody's going to pit anyway. Timmy Schofield's going to come down and pit. Mefford just extending his lead over Brian McCann. 2.37 seconds the lead for the 83. More tires and fuel for the 12. Crew drops the jack. 1480 the stop for Schofield. Brian McCann's going to peel off turn 4. He's coming to pit lane. McCann sporting the old IROC Challenge Series paint schemes. This series used to run a common template as far as their paints. Very similar to the legitimate IROC series from back in the day. McCann's down and away. 11:25, a quick stop. I wasn't paying attention if that was just right sides or if he just went fuel only. Either way, I don't know why he'd go fuel only. Plenty of tires over the wall. You don't have to do that. Fall off what it is. The Brandon Mefford coming to pit lane. About a second and a half of fall off once you get to the end of the run. But here comes Brandon Mefford. We'll see what the 83 does. Brian McCann seemed to be fastest on 4 fresh tires compared to Mefford's used tires. Seem to be a little bit quicker later on in the run by comparison, but they're slightly gonna, well, they're gonna be on the same sequence here. Mefford in the box. Right side tire, RPM's coming up. That's 4 tires and fuel for Mefford. So 14.3, a lightning quick 4-tire stop for Brandon Mefford. Very interesting. Meanwhile, Jason Nile just takes over the top spot. McCann just barely staying on the lead lap. Again, a short pit stop. See where Mefford ends up coming back out. Looks like he's going to be 8th. First truck 1 lap down. Again, as everybody else pits, that will cycle back through, but the biggest problem you don't want to see happen is a caution would come out, would trap Mefford a lap down. Right now, the top 5, the only trucks currently on the lead lap. Jason Nile, just Chris Wally, who's taking care of that truck. Doug Wysocki. Brian McCann has completed his pit work, and then Garrett Johnston. Chris Wally about 5.5 seconds back from the race leader. Nile just is going to pit here. I think Wally may stay out for another lap or 2. Take up the race lead here under the green flag. Picked up a lap lead during the last caution and then pit immediately after. Neil Quick going to close the gap here, try to get a lap back after his pit stop. Find it interesting here. Brian McCann, the only driver out there that did not take 4 tires. And again, my brain's kind of forgetting whether he took rights or none. I think it was rights at least, but I just kind of expected everybody to go with 4. This wasn't the case. Chris Wally, though, maintains the race lead as now second place Doug Wysocki hits pit road. Adam Benefield gets clear of the 75. He gets a lap back. Befford now in 4th on the lead lap. Chris Wally still has to come to pit lane. He pit on lap 32. It was a top off for fuel only. We'll keep an eye on Chris to see when he comes down. I think Wally really might be stretching this as far as he can go. Man, Wally's been on the green for almost 50 laps at this point. These guys that made their pit stops here, lap 75 in that range, they might actually be able to stretch it all the way to the end. I just don't see it paying off for Brian McCann. Again, McCann came down, and we're just going to assume that he went with rights only. I know we watched the pit stop, guys. I'm sorry I missed that one, but we can go back and look at it, actually, if I can find it. But McCann runs second, 15.7 back of Chris Wally, who still needs to pit. So McCann will re-inherit the top spot. But Johnston runs third. Mefford on the lead lap now runs 4th. He is roughly 2 seconds behind McCann with 4 fresh tires versus McCann's rights only. Last lap for McCann as Wally hits pit lane was a 30.74. Brandon Mefford with his 4 fresh tires, 30.32. It's just over 4/10 a lap quicker. He's going to get there. Question is, will those tires equalize as far as the fall off is concerned by the time Brandon gets there? If that's the case, though, I don't know. I still give the advantage to Brandon Mefford in that case. He seemed to be a little better on the older tires. I don't know if this is a Hail Mary for Brian McCann or just kind of, let's try this. Let's see what happens, because he knows in the long run that Mefford's faster. The way this race is played out, we've really only had the 1 caution for cause, 2 if you count the stage. So McCann now with the race lead. Johnston now second. Befford has closed the gap with 25 to go to a 1 second differential. There's about to be a battle for that second spot between Johnston and Mefford. Johnston keeps it up topside. That's the preferred place to be. Mefford tries a side draft here before he gets into turn 3. And I think he's going to take this spot rather easily. Now Johnston's going to battle back on the outside. Both drivers took tires, 4 that is. Mefford, though, about 4 laps sooner, 5 laps sooner than Garrett Johnston. So just a matter of time here. Mefford gets clear, now fully clear. Johnston relegated back to P3, about where he's run most of tonight, where he started tonight. 23 and a half laps to go. McCann out in front. Brandon Mefford trying to reel him in. Last lap for McCann at 31:04. Mefford, 30:80. Lap time's getting closer. Mefford still 2.5 tenths faster. Let's look at it this time because there was no battle with Mefford this lap around. McCann runs a 31:06, Mefford a 30:77. Now he's close enough to snip the draft off the 3. Lance Riggins up top side, giving the leaders plenty of space. Some connection issues still plaguing the 10. We see him blinking in and out. Mefford is there, drives it to the bottom of the racetrack. Lap truck just up ahead, gets out of the way, but still the top two side by side down the back straightaway here with less than 20 to go. Mefford's going to get down there, but McCann battles back topside. Mefford's got the rubber on the bottom of the racetrack to hold the position. He's going to get clear and retake the top spot here. 19 laps to go from Nashville Superspeedway. McCann right there to the tailgate on the 83-1, but has to lift just a bit. Can't hold the racetrack quite as well as the 83 at this point. Brandon Mefford, your new leader yet again here at Nashville. Garrett Johnston still about a half straightaway, a little less back from the top two. So we're back to qualifying order. Mefford, McCann, Johnston, the top three. That's where they all started. We'll check with Tim Schofield yet again here in 4th. Schofield's up 5 spots with Neil Quick knocking on the door. A truck length, maybe 2, back from the 12. Jason Nilgis, who led this race for a time, back in the 6th position, down a couple. And it's back to these two, Mike Cook and Matt Kopp. 85 and the 50, running 7th and 8th. Both drivers up 10 spots from their qualifying positions. Taking a look at pit stops, though. Cook made his stop at 75 for 4 tires. Kopp was 76 for 4 tires. So a lap later, slightly fresher rubber for the 50. Kopp finally gets clear now. Matt Kopp in the hard charger position here, up 11 spots. Back with 15 to go, the race leader still Brandon Mefford, almost a full second out in front of the 3 of McCann. I will have to hand it to the 3 here, though, taking just 2 tires on that final stop to get out there and maintain the 2nd spot. Doing quite well. And honestly, if he had taken 4 tires, yes, he would have spent an extra 3, maybe 3.2 seconds for that extra set of tires to put all 4 instead of 2 on. I think he would have been about the same position he's in right now. Yes, he'd have been quick out of the gate. Would have had some pace to maybe hold off Brandon for a little while, but I think ultimately, as we saw in the first 2 runs, Mefford was going to take that spot back whether he liked it or not. Real quick, working through some lap traffic, still in the 5th position now behind Tim Schofield. Three different winners in the first 3 races of this season. Steve Durbin taking the win at Daytona, Brian McCann at Auto Club, Garrett Johnston at Lucas Oil Raceway a couple of weeks ago. Will we get a 4th different winner of the season here at Nashville tonight? Time will tell. This runs green to the end. I got my money on the 83 of Mefford, but if the caution comes out, we'll see. We've been on the green long enough that I think the guys may take the opportunity to put the tires on. That would lay the benefit to Brian McCann, but if Mefford stays out, does McCann stay out, knowing that Mefford's going to be able to drive away on the older tires, at least the way things have been? That would be my mindset. If I'm the 3, I'd be coming to pit lane regardless if the yellow comes out. Kind of puts you in a situation if you're the race leader in that circumstances. Everybody behind you is going to do the opposite of what you do. If you stay out, they are all coming to pit lane, and they're going to eat you for lunch when you go back to green. Of course, if you pit, I think most guys would stay out. The place is tough to pass even when you got the tires. Mefford across the line, 9 to go. Enjoys a considerable 1.8 second advantage over the 3 of McCann. Chris Wally still running in the 10th position, still taking care of the truck. Stay out of the wreck. That was the plan coming into tonight. So far, so good. Lance Riggins may have had a connection issue there. That might have been the debris we saw flying around the racetrack. Everybody gets away through that, no problem. Mefford's still out in front. Now McCann starting to chew into that lead slightly, about a 10th. Now that could just be driving style right now. We talked about that earlier in the broadcast, how Mefford was backing up corner entry, getting out of the gas sooner than most of the drivers were so that he could get back to the throttle. Same thing, sooner than the rest of the drivers were. So we can carry more speed out of the corner and effectively down the straightaway. McCann still back about 1.8, coming to 6 laps remaining. Five to go. Mefford still running just slightly faster than Brian McCann. In fact, the other way around. Mefford about 200 slower than McCann, but that's not going to be enough for Brian to reel him in at this point. 31.60 for Mefford, 31.58 for McCann. That time by Mefford, a 31:42, about 2 full tenths plus faster than McCann. As you see the interval between the two, 2.18 seconds now. Less than 4 laps remain. Mefford looking to pick up his first win of the season here at Nashville Superspeedway. It'll be 3 laps to go when they get back to start-finish. Neil Quick still maintains the 5th position over Jason Nilgis. Matt Kopp still in 7th, up 11. Biggest mover on the day. Pick up the hard charger if he can hang out of that position. Chris Wally, meanwhile, has picked up a couple extra spots. He's into the top 10, running in the 8th spot. Really has been a solid afternoon for Brandon Mefford. This nice long run is what he needed to put this truck in a winning position. Of course, he started from pole position here this evening. Mefford off turn 4, back to start finish. Barney waves the white flag. Final lap here from Nashville. Mefford didn't really have the pace on the short run, but man, on the long run, you can see it with a 2-second advantage over a very talented Brian McCann. Just a half a lap to go. Mefford looking to pick up the race win, the first of the season and our 4th different winner of the season. Brandon Mefford, clean and green out of turn number 4. Checkered flag waves. Brandon Mefford does it. He wins at Nashville. Brian McCann comes home in the 2nd spot. Garrett Johnston 3rd. McCann comes in and gives Mefford a shot at the finish on the cool down. Certainly a very happy number 83, Brandon Mefford here celebrating at the front straightaway. We're going to take a short break here, and we'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Nashville Superspeedway, Brandon Mefford victorious here in race number 4, fourth different winner of the season. We'll pull the driver, the number 83, up into the broadcast booth. Brandon, it's Steve, HBR TV. You got us?
I got you, Steve.
Brandon, congratulations, man. Parked this thing in victory lane here tonight. Fourth different winner on the season. Put the truck on pole. Very quickly lost that race lead to Brian McCann on the short run, but as those tires got hot, got slippery, got greasy, you were able to drive back around. We saw that happen a number of times here tonight. What was the difference between the short run and the long run for you two? I know we run fixed setups here. Is it just driving style?
Yeah, I think driving style was everything tonight. I didn't see anybody driving the corner like I was, so really I was just trying to have good drive off all night. Wasn't worried about the entry speed, and it paid off for me. My tires were crazy good tonight. Talk about grip hacks with some other guys. That's what I felt like I had. My tire wear that first run was only like, it was still in the 80s, so pretty impressive for myself, actually.
Pretty long green flag runs here tonight. Certainly played into your favor as far as that's concerned. Extra sets of tires still sitting over the wall for some guys. What would have been the game plan? Let's look at the hypothetical here. If that caution had come out late, let's say after lap 100, were you planning on staying out?
No, we'd have had to come down. Tire fall off was just too much. Might have been seeing some guys take two tires on the rights. With the tire wear not being so bad on the lefts, it might have been a game changer.
Well, it didn't come to fruition. We stayed green for quite a while. A solid race here tonight, very clean and green. You end up in victory lane. Congratulations at that. Again, fourth different winner of the season. Some parity out there this year. Certainly good to see that. Looking forward, though, next week, Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle, that is a high-speed, high-commitment racetrack. Not really your wheelhouse. You're more of a short track guy, but how do you feel about your odds for another solid finish next week at Pocono?
It's going to be the same thing. If you can keep the tires under you and, keep the fenders clean, you'll have a good shot. But, that place races like a road course, and, that's where Brian's really good. So we'll be looking at his tailpiece again. But hopefully we can have something for him again. I like Pocono. It's one of my favorite tracks. Even though I don't usually run too hot there, but we'll give it a go.
Well, we certainly wish you the best, Brandon. It was a very impressive run here tonight. Looking for more of that here the rest of the season. Who do you want to shout out to before I let you get going?
Yeah, shout out to Brian McCann. It was a blast racing him, especially side by side there. The first time that we were trying to battle for the lead there, so that was a lot of fun. And then he doored me one time. We had a little fun with it, but thanks to him for racing me clean and giving me a run for my money. And then thanks to you for the broadcast. Thanks to everybody over here at IROC that showed up tonight. This is a really great league. If anybody wants to join, if you're out there listening, hop in this league. We're looking for drivers. We have a great time. So thanks to Chris Swally, all the sponsors that do their thing. Thanks to everybody over at Charity Motorsports and my family.
You guys certainly did put on a great show, man. Congratulations and good luck at Pocono.
Thanks, man.
It's Brandon Mefford, your race winner here at Nashville Superspeedway. Next, let's talk to our runner-up. The driver of the number 3 was looking for his second win of the season. Wasn't meant to be. Took 2 tires, I believe, on that final pit stop. But let's ask him about it. Brian, it's Steve in the booth. You got us?
I do.
Brian, congratulations, man. A solid second-place finish. You seem to have the truck on the short run, but after a while, Mefford was able to reel you in and go by a couple of different times. We saw a different strategy played in that final pit stop. Why don't you tell us about that? Was it 2 tires? I believe it was there at the end.
Yeah, Mefford, he had the long run figured out. I couldn't ever quite get it the entire race, but so partway through, my strategy changed, and he was like 2 seconds in front of me. So I was like, well, what if we just come in, get 1 can of fuel, 2 tires, because we calculated it out, we'll make it. And then hopefully I'll leapfrog him, and the caution would have come out, but the caution didn't ever come, and he got back around me, and, after that, that's it. So.
Well, still a solid run. You finished second place, so still in great position as far as points are concerned. We look forward to the Pocono Raceway next week. Mefford mentioned it. It's the oval that runs like a short track, and oval that runs like a road course. I know that's kind of in your wheelhouse. That's something that you're pretty damn good at. What are your expectations next week out of Pocono?
I like Pocono. It always gives pretty good race, and that long straightaway, let them draft back up to you, right? So That'd be a fun track in these trucks.
Well, Brian, we certainly look forward to it, man. We're going to let you go. Is there anybody else you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to my family, Medford, for winning that race there. You doing the broadcasts, sponsors, league admins, race control, drivers, everybody watching. Thank you.
All right, Brian, thanks for chatting, man. Good luck next week.
Thanks.
Brian McCann, your runner-up here at Nashville Superspeedway. Next, we're going to talk to our third-place finisher, and this will wrap up our interview portion of the broadcast. We'll talk to Garrett Johnston. Garrett, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Garrett, congrats. We've been talking a lot lately, and that's a good thing for you, certainly. A third-place finish, though, here at Nashville. Not quite enough to reel in Mefford and McCann. Those guys are on a whole nother level, but walk us through your race. You started in the third position. You moved up a little bit, but it wasn't too long. Those guys were able to get back around you. What was the difference maker here tonight? What could have been done differently on your end to maybe move up to a runner-up or even potentially a win?
Oh, I'm not sure there was much I could have done. You know, some nights you have it and some nights you don't. And tonight we didn't, but you know, it's not a bad thing to sit here and say I didn't have it and still get third. So I was content just running my race, and I knew pretty early on I probably didn't have the stuff to get around them and fight for the win. So I just got content where I was, and that was part of the strategy of pitting when I did, just to secure that third spot and just kind of build a little gap between me and the next car and see it out to the end.
All four corners on the truck still look pretty good here at the end of the race, so that's certainly a key part of finishing well in these races. But looking forward to next week at Pocono Raceway. Brandon Mefford says he really enjoys the racetrack, though doesn't tend to run the greatest there. Brian McCann, on the other hand, it's almost like his playground. He runs very well at Pocono Raceway. What's something that you can do differently looking into next week that might help you have a better finish?
Probably practice a little more. Tonight I jumped in about 2 minutes before the session ended, or qualifying started, and ran 2 qualifying laps, and that was it. So hopefully next week we can practice a little bit more beforehand. Maybe talk to you first instead of third. But regardless, now last year was the season from hell for me, and with the late models, and this year we're back to not so much my bread and butter, but something I'm a little bit more comfortable with in the trucks. So hopefully we can continue to see each other.
Seems to be some horsepower under the hood of that Chevrolet. We'll see if you can carry that into Pocono next week. We wish you the best of luck. Garrett, who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, thank you guys, and Wally, especially for putting this on every week. It's always a pleasure and always fun to do on a Monday night. Thanks to everyone watching at home, Dad, Grandma, Aunt, Andy, everyone. We will see you next week.
All right, Garrett, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
All right, thanks so much.
It's Garrett Johnston, your third-place finisher here at Nashville Superspeedway. That'll wrap up the interviews here tonight, but let's take a look at our race results. Of course, we already talked to our top 3 finishers: Brandon Mefford, Brian McCann, Garrett Johnston. 4th place was Tim Schofield. 5th was the 2 of Neil Quick. Jason Nilgis was 6th. Matt Kopp 7th. Chris Wally, a solid finish, finishes out in the 8th spot, and he did what he planned to do, stay out of the wreck. Mike Cook finished 9th. Brandon Leclerc was 10th. 11th place, Newt Quick. Joshua Mears was 12th. Doug Wysocki 13th. 14th, Adam Benefield. 15th, Zachary Cleek. Todd Cleek was 16th. Larry Bruner 17th. And Lance Riggins 18th. Daniel Pinkston credited with 19th, but he did not take the green flag here tonight. Likely here as an admin role more than anything else. That said, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, check us out, youtube.com/@HBRTV1. Give us a like, a follow, subscribe, turn on the notifications so if we do go live and you weren't expecting it, you get that notification so you know to tune in and watch. We'll be here next week. We're done for the week this week. Of course, we're taking tomorrow and Thursday off. We'll be down at Watkins Glen International for the real thing, enjoying ourselves, having a cold beer and some tasty treats and things of that nature. But we'll be back here if all things go well, as long as we don't get rained out Sunday. We'll be here to cover the Pocono broadcast here on HBR TV. We'll try to get all that scheduled here this evening, actually, so we don't have to worry about it later. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Certainly, it's been a fun season so far, and certainly more to come. A very long season, and I really like how these guys split things up as far as that season is concerned. We're going to run the trucks for a little while, and then we'll switch over to a different car, and then another different car. It's a blast. It's keeps things a little bit fresh, doesn't get dull. it's a bonus across the board. So stay tuned for it. Be here every week for these races. If you know anybody that's interested in joining a league, get in touch with Chris Wally or even me. I can get you in touch with Chris too. Find us in the Discord. Get me on Facebook, facebook.com at HBRTV1. You can find us there as well. Send me a message and we'll get you squared away with Chris and get you tuned up into this league. That's going to wrap it up again. Congratulations to Brandon Mefford. Nice job taking the race win here tonight, and good luck to all next week at Pocono. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.